Hello and welcome to the Queen's Corner. My name is Ariel Jillian, and today I'm going to do something a little different, but it's something I really want to get into, and that is reading old fairy tales, okay? And today I'm going to read a book that I've read several times. It's called Women Who Run with the Wolves, and it's Myths and Stories of the Wild Woman Archetype, okay? And this is by Clarissa Pinkola Estes, okay? And today I'm going to read a story in here. And this is about really renewing the creative fire, okay? If you don't know a lot about me, I'm a fashion designer. I'm an artist, okay? And I have a lot of passions and creativity and really just cultivating and honing in other people's creativity. So this is a story about renewing the creative fire. It's called The Three Gold Hairs, okay? Once when it was deepest, darkest night, the sort of night when the land is black and the trees seem like gnarled hands against the dark blue sky, it was on exactly this kind of night that a lone old man staggered through the forest. Though boughs scratched his face, half blinding his eyes, he held out a tiny lantern before him. Therein the candle burned lower and lower. The old man was a sight to behold with his long yellow hair, cracked yellow teeth, and curved amber fingernails. His back was rounded like a bag of flour, and so ancient was he that his skin hung in furrows from his chin, arms, and hips. The old one progressed through the forest by grasping a sapling and pulling his body forward, grasping another sapling and pulling his body forward. And with this rowing motion, and by the small breath left in him, he made his way through the forest. Every bone in his feet pained like fire. The owls in the trees screeched right along with his joints as he propelled himself forward in the dark. Way off in the distance, there was a tiny flickering light, a cottage, a fire, a home, a place of rest. And he labored toward that little light. Just as he reached the door, he was so tired, so exhausted, the tiny light in his little lantern died, and the old man fell through the door and collapsed. Inside was an old woman sitting there before a beautiful warring fire, and now she hurried to his side, gathered him into her arms, and carried him to the fire. She held him in her arms as a mother holds her child. She sat and rocked him in her rocking chair. There they were, the poor, frail old man, just a sack of bones, and the strong old woman rocking him back and forth, saying, "There, there, 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 there," as she rocked him all through the night. And by the time it was not yet morning, but almost, he had grown much younger. He was now a beautiful young man with golden hair and long, strong limbs, and she still rocked him. There, 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 there. And as morning approached even more closely, the young man had turned into a very small and beautiful child with golden hair plaited like wheat. Just at that moment of dawn, the old woman plucked 3 hairs very quickly from the child's beautiful head and threw them into the tiles. They sounded like this: ting, ting, ting. And the little child in her arms crawled down from her lap and ran to the door. Looking back at the old woman for a moment, he gave her a dazzling smile, then turned and flew up into the sky to become the brilliant morning sun. So that was the story. I want to read a little bit about this, but something that really stuck out to me with this story and how it pertains to the creative life was when the old man was just going through the forest so slowly, so tired, and when you think of the sun, and how the sun shines so bright for the day, right? But then we go into night, right? And that is really like the death cycle, right? It's a birth and rebirth cycle. It's light and then dark. There are stages, right? There are creative stages in our life. And as an artist, as a creative, we can get real tired. We can get burnt out. We don't have new ideas, and in a capitalistic society, I feel like, American success is you have to follow a trajectory of up all the time. But that's not how life goes, right? It's up, down, here, around, up, down, here, around. And that's how it's supposed to go, right? It's a life birth cycle. It's really a circle, you know? It's not linear. It's a circle. And so we really have to put that in mind when we're talking about our creative life, and really just love the moments when we need to rest. Love the moments where we are not creative. Love those moments, nourish those moments, you know. Relax in knowing that you have not had your best idea yet, and it is coming, you know. I'm going to read a little bit about what she says about this. To lose focus means to lose energy. The absolutely wrong thing to attempt when we've lost focus is to rush about, struggling to pack it all back together again. Rushing is not the thing to do. As we see in the tale, sitting and rocking is the thing to do. Patience, peace, and rocking renews ideas. Just holding the idea and the patience to rock it are what some woman might call a luxury. Wild Woman says it's a necessity. This is something wolves know all about. When an intruder appears, wolves may growl, bark, or even bite the interloper, but also they may, from a good distance, draw back into their group and sit together as a family would. They just sort of sit there and breathe together. Rib cages go in and out, up and down. They're focusing themselves, regrounding themselves, returning to the center of themselves and deciding what is critical, what to do next. They're deciding they're not going to do anything right now, just going to sit here and breathe, just gonna rock together. So I love hearing that, because, you know, it just gives artists and creatives, you know, the okay to not be okay, to not know the next move, to not know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. But if you sit there long enough, right? If you have an idea and you hold it long enough, you rock it, you mull over it, you give it time, you know, you give it space to think and to breathe, you know, it will become something eventually. You know, I feel like we live in such a fast-paced microwave society, and it's really time for us to stop that as artists, right? It's time for us to stop and really hone in to what we have inside of us, which I believe is a lot for most of us. It's huge. It's big. We have big ideas inside of us, but we really just need to sit sometimes and rock it, you know, and really think about it and mull over it and nourish it, give it nourishment. There was one other thing that she had said in here. Okay. Read this. Whatever their idea of respite, even though they're speaking from abject tiredness and frustration, I say that respite is a good idea. It is time to rest. To which they usually screech, rest? How can I rest when the whole world is going to hell right in front of my very eyes? But in the end, a woman must rest now, rock now, regain her focus. She must become younger, recover her energy. She thinks she cannot, but she can. For the circle of women, be they mothers, students, artists, activists, always closes to fill in for those who go on rest leave. A creative woman has to rest now and return to her intense work later. She has to go see the old woman in the forest, the revivifier, the wild woman, and one of her many leitmotifs. The wild woman expects that the animus will wear out on a regular basis. She is not shocked that he falls through her door. She is not shocked when we fall through the door. She is ready. She will not rush us in a panic. She will just pick us up and hold us till we regain our power again. And neither should we panic when we lose our momentum or focus. But like her, we must calmly hold the idea and be with it a while. Whether our focus is on self-development, world issues, or relationship, doesn't matter. The animus will wear down. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. Completing long endeavors such as finishing school, concluding a manuscript, fulfilling one's opus, caregiving an ill person. All these have their times when the once young energy turns old, falls down, and can go on no longer. For women, it is best if they understand this at the onset of an endeavor, for women tend to be surprised by fatigue. Then they wail, they mutter, they whisper about failure and inadequacy and such. No, this losing of energy is as it is. It is nature. So I hope you enjoyed that reading. That is from Women Who Run with the Wolves. I love talking about fairy tales and creativity and, bringing women back to what really makes us women. And I think the moral of the story is it's okay to rest, rejuvenate. Life is not linear. Life is a circle. It's a cycle. And it's okay to be up one and down the next, relish the up, relish the down, and don't get depressed in the down, but really understand what the down is there for. The down is there for you to reflect, to rest, to think, so that when you come up again, you come up higher, your circle becomes bigger. So thank you. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a wonderful and blessed rest of your day.